boys.
Yeah, you said congrats,
Nice.
10 boys.
Nice. There's 10 boys.
We got too horny, and that's why.
I don't want him to come. Jake, how horny does this make you?
Very horny.
It's one big joke, believe me. Minnesota sports in all sorts. You see, they know it's never gonna get easy. You see, they know it's Minnesota, constant pain and misery.
And I'm a part of Al Qaeda.
It's 10K TV. It's one big joke, believe me. Minnesota sports in all sorts.
Dude, he could turn Daniel Jones into Brett Favre.
Minus the penis pics.
You can legally smoke crack.
What is a DVOA?
I went dicks, vaginas, or ass.
I think that's what it is.
Don't know much except to yell.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another live episode of 10KTV presented by 10,000 Takes. My name is Boss Man, joined as always by journalist Jake and Sarge. And Jake, you're back from the Boundary Waters. You were away from civilization for quite some time. Why don't you tell people about it?
Yeah, I fought off a bunch of wildlife, a couple bears, a Sam Squanch, and a moose.
Okay.
And I survived the great outdoors in the Boundary Waters, and so I'm here now. I survived. My back is still doing good after carrying canoes, but we're back. We're having a good time. I survived.
Portaging?
And portaging, the Minnesota Portagers. That should be a new team name somewhere. So, yeah, I'm here. I'm alive.
It's like a
Made it.
biker gang, except instead of riding a pack of motorcycles, you guys just carry canoes all over the woods.
It is funny because whenever you go into like the access point and you lose service, you're like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
I may never come back. I might, but I might not. And it might be, no one would ever know. So,
If you have a medical emergency out there, how far away is the nearest hospital?
oh gosh,
You might as well just throw them in the lake and say, "Have a good afterlife,
Goodbye.
buddy."
we're like, yeah, we'll say goodbye. So, I think you have like emergency systems or GPS things that you can click an SOS button, and I think like they can get like helicopter resources out there to help you, but that would just suck. That'd be
Yeah, dude, I'd rather just die than have to deal with a $200,000 bill for flying in a chopper.
Yeah, and pulling you out of the Boundary Waters.
Yeah.
That would be a disaster.
You'd never be allowed to leave civilization again.
Although, like, I think a flare gun would be a little bit more of an appropriate way to call for help. I'd like to shoot a flare gun. Never had to do it, but that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing people bring up there is a flare gun for help or something. And I'm like, okay.
And accidentally start a forest fire.
Yeah,
and
yes.
Ruin our summer even more than the Canadians have.
Yeah. And there's already been, we've already been under fire watch or a risk up there already. So, yeah, that wouldn't be ideal to have one of those, but they'd be fun to shoot, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, just shoot it on the 4th of July. No one will even know that you're shooting a flare gun. It
think
just
it's
looks like a firework.
Looks like a fun firework. Bring flare guns to your 4th of July festivities, folks.
Yeah, it's the time to get it out of your system.
Yep.
But, all right, let's talk about some sports stuff here. So, Boldy and Hartman, Minnesota Wild forwards, took second in a golf tournament this weekend. The Golf Digest Open, which is a two-person best ball tournament. And if you qualify top 3 in any of the tournaments, you qualify for the national championship at Streamsong in Bowling Green, Florida. Here's the concerning part about that. So they qualified for it for finishing top 3 at the event they played in. It's in September, which is the same time as training camp / preseason. So is there a cause for concern there, Jake?
I think so. I think
Priorities.
this is gonna really question or really test Boldy and Hartman's commitment level to the game of hockey and to the Wild. If they were to actually find even just some time to go down and play in this tournament in Bowling Green, Florida, not to be confused with Bowling Green, Ohio, or Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Yep.
Probably much nicer in Florida, I would say, than the Bowling Green in Ohio. The internet's already going to go after them already more than they already have for winning second in this tournament. This is going to be a test of their commitment level to the game and this team if they actually do go and play in this national championship tournament in Florida or whatever it is. So
I know Boldy's a really good golfer because he played. I remember he got like a sponsor exemption in a Canadian Tour event that was played in Brainerd last summer or two summers ago. Like the most random The most random sentence that's probably ever come out of any sports reporter's mouth is that Matt Boldy was sponsor exempt in a Canadian Tour event in Brainerd.
Wait, that tournament was in Brainerd that he qualified
Yeah,
for?
or it was-
That's so bizarre.
It was somewhere up there.
Wow.
Minnesota, I thought.
How did he do in the Canadian Tour event? I don't follow it. I didn't follow. No one follows Canadian professional golf.
Yeah, they just ruin our summers every
Yeah,
year.
seriously. with the
I'm
damn
actually
fires.
more concerned about the Canadian hockey team at the moment, which we'll get to later. But
Yeah.
let's pull up some of the comments from Instagram. So the Wild posted, for the first time in a while, congrats to our guys for taking second in this Golf Digest Championship. Sarge, pull up some of the Instagram comments. You want to read some of these?
Yeah, we're going to start off with this one. Jay Tracy 919. You mean they made it past the first round? Question mark.
Technically,
Technically, it was only one round. So
Was it only a one-day tournament?
Yeah, I think.
Well, if they made it, okay. I mean, I get what they're going for there, but it's not like a typical tournament where you make a cut or something like that. But sure.
A two-man best ball. So.
Yeah.
All right, next one here. GPXZP, great name. A lot of extra time in May/June to practice.
Yep. Yep, that one's true.
Yeah, it's very true. For them to get their golf game down, hone in on
Yep.
the golf.
Although nothing will be funnier than they only do this for Montreal for some reason. They could do this for any team who or not Montreal, for Toronto. They could do this for any team who regularly gets eliminated, but they just replace the Stanley Cup with a picture of a Maple Leafs golf bag. They say congrats to the Maple Leafs on once again winning the Stanley Cup. So they could do that with the Wild for sure. Now after this, it's like, oh, congrats! Now the guys can go win a golf tournament.
Yeah.
But,
We can win. We got to win something in.
yeah,
with
I
this
mean,
hockey
do you
team.
expect them to just like bag skate for the entire summer?
See, here's the thing. Yeah, it's disappointing as this Wild team has been in terms of their history of being in the playoffs over the last decade. They're not just going to not go out and try to clear their head by playing golf or playing in something competitive like this, which I think can only benefit them. Hopefully, they think they're supposed to do Herbies every single day.
Yeah.
And go to the Stanley Cup games and study and analyze
Yep.
the teams that are making it that far. It's like, let them be humans for a few months.
Breakdown film from the game against the Ducks back in April.
Yeah, the last game of the season where
Yep.
we almost lost.
Maybe grind film on that game.
We make the playoffs. Yes.
All right, we got a few more here. That's the wrong one. Nash Edward, this is crazy. The goal is to be playing hockey right now.
Yeah, I mean they technically could. I think the Beauty League starts up pretty soon.
Sure. And I know what they mean, okay? But unfortunately, 16 teams make the playoffs, and unfortunately, only 2 make it to the Stanley Cup final. So there's going to be players as much as we want the Wild to be in it. Like, there are going to be teams and players that are not playing in June.
Yeah.
So they're going to do this, all right?
Yeah, you have to be one of the top 2 teams.
You know what? Yeah, you know what? These people are right, though. Matt Boldy and Ryan Hartman confirmed do not want to be playing in the Stanley Cup.
You have Hartman's number. You should text him and be like, I'm really disappointed you played golf this weekend.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed that you wouldn't have rather been playing in the Stanley Cup.
Can't believe you'd rather play in a golf tournament than the Stanley Cup, bro.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Just makes me sound like a typical internet hater.
I was really hoping that they wrote an Athletic article about this because the comments in that are way more funnier than anywhere else when it comes to negativity.
Yep.
But I don't know, Sarge, is that the last
Yeah,
one?
that's the last one.
Honestly, not bad. I thought honestly the comments would have been worse, but I knew that there were still going to be some where people were just angry that they were playing in a golf tournament and not playing hockey.
And posting them winning something.
Yeah.
That is not hockey
Now they
related.
get to go play. Apparently, whoever wins that national championship at Streamsong in September they win a golf trip in Ireland.
Really, they don't get a berth into the Masters.
No,
That'd
no.
be great.
Or into the Zurich, which is the team event, the best ball team event. Imagine
Yep.
if you got a sponsor exemption into that.
Is this something on the PGA
Get your
Tour?
ass absolutely kicked
Watch
by
Hartman. Yeah.
Rory and Shane Lowry.
Yeah, still fun to watch. It'd still be interesting to watch a couple of our hometown hockey guys playing in a PGA event.
Well, yeah, congrats to the fellas on taking second in the Golf Digest tournament. So let's move on next to OTAs. big topic here. This is the time of year, we've already mentioned it, where you really take anything you can get with the NFL. So I'm going to go over some events that have happened here in the last week or two for the Vikings, and we'll just kind of go line by line here. The first one is that Jettas did his gritty for the 2026 Madden game. I don't know, Sarge,
yeah, here we
I
go.
loaded a video into that. That suit on him, and he does it himself.
I thought for whatever reason thought a stunt person or whatever, but it makes
No,
a
I
lot
think
more
it's-
sense
yeah.
for it to be JJ.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a big deal. People were hyping that up. They're gonna have the gritty in Madden 26.
Yep.
That could be the biggest highlight of the Minnesota Vikings season.
That might
We'll
be
see.
That might be the biggest
I
thing
don't
that
know.
happens.
It could be. Well, we don't know yet.
Yeah. Actually, regardless, the biggest thing that'll happen is playing overseas for 2 weeks. Which is kind of cool.
That's pretty dope.
R.I.P. Jim Marshall,
Yep.
legend.
Purple people eater.
Purple people eater. Say that 10 times fast.
Purple people eater. Purple people eater. Purple. I'm not doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Maybe on a Thursday.
Speaking of legends, all the QBs met Dante Culpepper,
Yeah.
which
Get your roll on.
he's gotten kind of big.
Yeah, he's gotten. I thought he was
Last few
big.
years.
Watch him as a kid, and I'm like, that's Dante Culpepper.
Yeah, he's
Oh, man.
you know what? He's enjoying retirement.
Oh yeah, and, that's fine. Nothing against him. He still looked like he could barrel roll somebody. So
I'll still never forget his iconic celebration where he would just kind of twist his arms and stop.
Yeah, get
twitch
your
him
roll
like
on.
the freeze. Yeah,
Looked like he was like rolling his arms, but he was like having a seizure halfway
yeah,
through doing
yeah.
it.
Like he was glitching out.
Yeah. So that was cool. A lot of people were commenting on the way. One of the quarterbacks shook his hand. I can't remember which quarterback it was.
Sam Howell or Ripon.
Yeah, he like squeezed his
Ripon.
fist. Kind of like the old
Well-
people, like after COVID, people forgot how to shake hands. You know, one guy would go in for a fist bump, the other would go in for a handshake, and then you just end up squeezing the other guy's fist. It's kind of one of those.
Well, that's what you get when you have Sam Howell and a guy like Ripon as your backups.
Yeah.
You're gonna have someone awkwardly giving a handshake like that. I don't know.
As if Dante Culpepper didn't just catch a stray from us about being a little overweight in his retirement. Blake Hashman commented on the photo, quote unquote, "If you want to feel old, I used to go to your house every Halloween because you always gave the kids king size candy bars." He said that to Dante Culpepper, so I think that's pretty funny.
That's nuts.
Also, Blake Cashman coming back on the show. We resurfaced his blind rankings of Minnesota cities.
Yep.
And I think he pretty much got all of them wrong.
Yeah.
People were not happy, so
They weren't happy with his blind rankings. He wasn't. Sleepy Eye, the Sleepy Eye one. He didn't know what Sleepy Eye was, and then he ended up ranking Duluth last or something like that.
Sarge, as someone who used to live in Duluth, what was your take on that?
Yeah, that was trash.
Yeah,
That
you
was
didn't
trash.
like that.
Duluth is not at the bottom of rankings of really anything.
Oh nope, but it's official. That was his list.
It's true.
Yeah, almost a year old now.
That is his list. Yeah, we're gonna have him back on here. I think next Wednesday we'll probably do the interview live. So join us for that. McCarthy looked really great. Was throwing tight spirals. Wasn't wearing shoulder pads or facing pressure. But did we include a video of this?
Yes.
Yeah,
And, guys, I'm sorry. From the comments, apparently these videos are really loud. So brace your ears, guys.
Yeah, Super Bowl winning quarterback right there. We're going all the way.
Give us the trophy now.
Yeah, right. I would
Nope.
say.
No pads, no pressure.
Yep.
Sick though. Did you see the video of him screaming too, like
Yeah.
through the tunnel thing?
Yeah.
I've seen enough.
Yeah. I'm already hopeful. I'm already optimistic. I'm
guy.
sold. I'm sold. He's going to be here for the next 15 years, winning championships. It could be. I don't know. But I love how people were bringing up his stats. Like he has
The OTA stats. Oh.
Like he's 90 for 102 for 38 touchdowns and 1 interception. Okay,
Season preview.
the OTAs. I think all we need to see is that it looks optimistic in that looks like he's moving well from his injury. He's throwing the ball well. He's looking good. And so you can find a little optimism in that. But again, I want to reiterate to people that he's never played a game in the NFL yet. Let's relax for a second.
Played one preseason game against the Raiders.
Yep, one preseason game. He had a couple plays in that game, yes, but it was a preseason game. Here's the thing with J.J. McCarthy is that there's two lines of thinking I think you can have with J.J. McCarthy is the hopeful, I hope he does well. He's looking okay from injury. I hope he's the guy and figures it out. That's kind of where I am at. But then there's people who have acted like he's been in the league for 3 years and we made it to the playoffs for 3 years with him. Their mindset on him is like he's already established quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, you don't want to
Come on.
find yourself catching Jaron Hall syndrome.
Yeah, Jaron Hall.
See one small sample size and just assume that is the floor.
That's it. Yeah, Jaron Hall or Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
You talk about a guy who just really.
God, that was so much fun
Power
for like
down.
2 weeks.
So we gotta take it one game at a time. Wait till week 1, and then those are the. Let's stick with the regular season NFL stats here, okay? Instead of really honing in on these OTA stats.
OTA stats.
If you want to give JJ McCarthy the OTA MVP amongst all the quarterbacks in the league, of all the OTA quarterbacks, I guess performances, then go for it. I don't care.
Yep. I'd say he had a more successful OTA than Stephon Diggs when it comes to team policy.
He might have. Yeah. What did Diggs do again?
He was on a boat with a ton of busty women with unknown substances that were definitely drugs.
Yeah, I saw that picture now.
Pink drugs.
See, okay, I don't know if that was.
What else would it be?
I don't know.
Snuff.
It's like
that's
the
not-
only other thing I think about is like if you just took a bag of sugar and threw food coloring in it and mixed it up, or like you scraped the sugar off of Peeps and put it in a bag.
It could be C4, like the
You might-
pre-workout.
Okay,
Could be.
Because I don't know. I've never allegedly seen cocaine before,
but
but
girls
I've never
aren't
seen pink
girls.
cocaine.
Girls, I feel like girls wouldn't be like, here, please give me some of that C4. Like I need it. Like you could tell that was drugs.
Yeah.
Man
Here,
Bear
hand me
Pig
that
says
bag.
cocaine and Molly.
Okay, yeah, see that?
That's what
that
it
sounds
is.
Never
accurate.
mind, I'm wrong. Man Bear Pig's
But
right.
what made it pink? Are there any drug experts out there? I'm not one.
Molly.
But what makes
Molly's
it pink?
usually brown. Not that I would know.
Okay.
Oh, really? Okay. Not that you would know.
I would
allegedly.
would
You
not
wouldn't
know.
No, we wouldn't know. We're not experts on this shit.
Jetta's had a good quote about what he told McCarthy going into the season. He just said, "Just throw it up anywhere, and I'm going to get it." So that's all he's got to do. McCarthy's got to do just throw it somewhere near Jetta's.
Yeah.
With that logic, I think I could be the Vikings quarterback.
Same here.
I could throw it near him.
If I'm under pressure and I have nowhere else to go or I'm scared, I'm just gonna chuck it up to JJ or somewhere over by him. But I feel like I would get kind of confused on where he is on the field.
Yeah, because
and
you're
then I'll
too
throw it
short
to
to
the
see over the O lineman.
Yeah, I'll end up throwing to the wrong receiver, and it's not Justin Jefferson, and then we'll be really fucked. Yeah. But JJ McCarthy, I guess, just know where Justin Jefferson is on the field and just throw it over that direction. Then maybe we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll go 9-8 or 10-7.
We'll do that. We'll do the gritty on Madden 26. We'll go to Ireland, drink some piss warm Guinness, and we'll call it a season at 10-8.
Yeah.
I like that game plan.
Or we'll
Miss the
call
playoffs by 2 games.
we'll call it a season in mid-October.
Yeah, Aaron Jones retires.
Yeah, Jordan Mason.
Put a bow
moves
on
up.
that. Jordan Mason becomes the guy. That's a loud dog.
Yep.
That might be the dog you were talking about earlier, Sarge. I was mentioning this before the broadcast started, but the Friends of the Ballpark found a grill. Something we're going to keep our eye on.
Oh yeah,
see
that's
how
right.
See how that situation develops.
Yeah,
here, but-
I'm very curious.
Yeah, I don't know where they found it. I know they have lighters. They had
know
charcoal
they got
too.
lighters.
I don't know where they.
Yeah.
I don't know where they got the charcoal too. And then just a whole shopping cart full of things that they might have burned at some point.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if it like evolves to like several grills and it's
Yeah.
just a full on tailgate.
There was, by
the
the way,
street.
someone lit something on fire in our back alley here in downtown St. Paul. I don't know if you guys noticed. There's like it looked like an old wagon, or those carts that people use in their apartments to carry, like to roll things up. They're like wagons with fabric.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those is burned in the back alley.
Okay.
Next to a bike with no tires.
That makes sense.
So
Yeah. It's just turning into that just makes sense. I don't know what I wonder if there's no way a resident of your said apartment would have done that. I don't know why they would have done that, So
also feel bad for whoever may have left said cart outside and just found it burned in the back alley of the 10K studio.
or they just they walked out there and they saw them actively doing it.
Yep.
Like, okay, well, that wagon's gone.
Yep.
Yeah,
Time
they
to
can have
hop
it.
on Amazon and buy another one.
Take it.
What else do we have here? We're going to get to Will Fries in a little bit. Last thing is Vikings posted their Pride Month photo, and the comments were not great on that one either. So
Yeah, I mean, can you be surprised? What bothers, like, I don't care. Like, but I'll sometimes open up the comments, but then there's people that, like, are surprised.
I know.
That I can't believe this is the internet.
Yes.
People are sitting behind a keyboard. They're going to say shit.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with it or not, that's the internet. There's people that are, like, shocked that someone said this, but there's just the people that are. But then there's just the people that, like, are just like, all right, focus on football. I want a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And
then there's the people who are like, I can no longer support this team.
And then what happened in, like, Chicago or something? Someone said something really bad. They're like, or like it was Pittsburgh or somebody.
I don't know. It's actually my favorite. It's my favorite annual event when NASCAR changes their logo to a pride.
Oh man,
those are polar opposite fan bases, right?
Yeah, in terms of more of the same ideals across the board. So
yeah, did we hit everything on OTAs? Is that pretty much the update?
I think
Vikings
so.
Update.
It goes draft, schedule release now, and OTAs.
Schedule release of the schedule release.
Yep,
Then
schedule
release.
Yep.
OTAs.
There'll be some more, hopefully.
Someone will get arrested at some point in the offseason.
Trade for Kirk
racing.
Cousins.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Rogers signed in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Same day that Elon tweeted publicly that Trump is on the Epstein files, so that headline kind of got buried.
It did. And like I was saying, I think Rodgers might have did that on purpose. I think he's like, I want to kind of keep it under the table that I signed with the Steelers to wrap up my career. That's a good one.
Rodgers also said that he doesn't use AirPods because they mess with his brain waves. So that's why he uses corded headphones, by the way. I know Kirill uses corded headphones as well over AirPods. I'm guessing it's probably not for the same reason.
No. I can see why people maybe use corded headphones because of the, I don't know, easier to track or carry. I don't know. But, yeah, the brainwaves one is interesting.
Are you surprised, though?
No, I'm not surprised at all. I wonder what brainwaves he's referring to or why it is the wireless ones impact your said brainwaves versus corded headphones. Yeah. I feel like there'd be more electricity powering through the corded headphones. Maybe Aaron Rodgers is viewing his brain as a battery or something, and he thinks corded headphones gives him a charge.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if he has a conversation or a thought on that. Your brain's a battery. You got to charge it.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah, and ayahuasca's the charger. I don't know.
Yeah, that's another charge for him.
All right, let's move on to golf, boys. U.S. Open. The season's already going too fast. The summer's already going too quick. We're already on our third or fourth major. Yeah. It still feels like Rory just won the Masters. It does not feel like it was that long ago that Scotty won the PGA Championship, but we're already on the U.S. Open. What are our initial thoughts? Oakmont looks hard.
Yeah, I was reading into it. It looks like a course from hell for me.
Yeah.
Honestly, other than Bethpage Black being a notorious course for being just hell, this looks like I struggle in just regular muni courses, but this is gonna be. I think you're gonna see some really bad holes from some notoriously good golfers, honestly. Except for Scotty Scheffler, I have a feeling he's just gonna figure it out and win another major.
He's better than the golf course.
Yeah, he usually is when he figures it out.
I was reading some stuff on Twitter that people are predicting an over par finish.
Very possible. I mean, the rough is literally we do this drill every year where someone drops a ball in the rough at the U.S. Open and the ball gets buried. It disappears. It completely disappears. And this is rough that's right off the fairway. There's no transition from light rough to no. It's you're either in the fairway on the green or you're in the goddamn cabbage.
They're gonna need to combat this these long roughs that we've seen at the U.S. Opens. We're gonna see some eventually one of these years a golfer invent maybe Bryson DeChambeau with his printed clubs.
Yeah,
he's gonna invent some shovel looking wedge.
Yep.
To get out of these roughs.
He's played a hole of golf with a shovel before. That's one of his pieces of content. So
he's already halfway
there. If anyone
there.
has experience doing it, it's him.
He might have one in his house. A prototype, I should say.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious.
Didn't he have 3D printed clubs at the Masters 2 years ago? Whatever happened to those? Is he still rocking those?
No, we'd have to look that up. But when we already bring this up, it just seems super sketchy and illegal for me. Like,
Do you
he
remember
has to
his
get him
co-
inspected.
Do you remember his comments at the PGA Championship in his post interview? He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna find a golf ball. I'm gonna make a golf ball that flies straighter before the U.S. Open."
Yeah, that's funny. He's making jokes about it. We're gonna see his own. Yeah, I don't know. If
He does have new irons made by LA Golf. I saw. They look pretty sweet.
I'm reading that he swapped his in 2024 his 3D printed ones.
Okay, yeah, that was probably a bad idea. Maybe trust the experts on that.
That's just crazy to me. 3D printed clubs.
Rory has looked terrible
Yeah.
since winning the Masters. I knew he was going to miss the cut last week when they handed him a Leafs jersey, a custom
Right.
Leafs jersey. I was like, oh, that's a death wish.
Bro, you're cursed.
Sure enough, he goes 71-78 to miss the cut.
Oh,
Got beat
man.
by a lot of bad players on Friday.
I feel like that's not a terribly difficult course for those guys. Is that played at the same course every year, the Canadian
No,
Open?
they change it
Oh, it
up.
does
This year it
change.
was someplace in Ontario. I guess they always
Okay.
have it in the surrounding Toronto area.
Okay.
Apparently the parking was just a disaster at this course, and it was. I don't know if you guys watched the RBC, the playoff yesterday. It was grueling, and I was so hungover. I needed it to end as soon as
Yeah, I'm
possible,
sure.
so I could go back to not thinking. And watching them try to just play the 18th hole 4 times in a row was hard enough. And then they changed the hole mid playoff, which I've never seen them do on a playoff before.
Really? They changed, they moved the hole.
Yeah, they moved the cup.
Oh gosh. Okay. What was the playoff? What's the playoff ruling for that? Did they just play on 18 or did
They
play?
play
free?
so every tournament's different, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
For this tournament, it was just play 18 until someone
Okay.
has a better score.
All right.
18 was one of those holes where smart plays to lay up because there's water on the front and the left. So for the first 4 playoffs, they just kept laying up and making par. And
Yeah.
then eventually Ryan Fox just
Yeah.
balled out. It was actually funny because he originally had an iron out, and then he put the iron in his bag and pulled out the 3-wood, and everyone just started cheering. They're like, finally, he's gonna go for it.
Yeah.
We might see him either screw this up
Yeah.
or ball out and win. And you guys will have to look it up if you haven't seen it yet, but he might have hit the best 3-wood shot I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
nasty.
260 out or something. He put it to 4 feet
How many times did they play the hole?
4 times.
Okay. That's rough.
Lasted for an hour and 20 minutes. It was horrible, dude.
That's really bad.
Ugh.
Yeah, I didn't have the chance to watch it, but yeah, I saw it went to the playoff, and that's tough.
I was praying that Sam Burns would win it, and then he could just go on this tear so that he's a lock for the Ryder Cup, and that some American who's played it before actually shows some hope. But he didn't really do anything during the playoff.
You didn't. No, it didn't sound like it. I think it was 2 years, wasn't it? This kind of just jogged my memory, but I think it was 2 years ago when Nick Taylor just sunk that huge putt in a
80-foot
playoff.
putt to beat Tommy Fleetwood in a playoff. That was the
I'm-
Canadian Open 2 years ago. That was fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
I remember watching that live. So that was insane.
I'd say that's the greatest moment in Canadian sports modern history.
Yeah, 'cause it was
The Four Nations isn't that impressive compared to they beat 3 teams. But he did. He was the first Canadian winning that tournament since 1960 something.
Yeah, and to win
Last year, the Maple Leafs won a cup.
Yeah, to win in that fashion, that literally is the best thing that's happened to Canada, or maybe Toronto area at least, since the Maple Leafs won a cup.
Yeah.
That's funny to think. And that was 2 years
If
ago now
Edmonton
already.
wins this, then that overtakes it. But I would argue that Nick Taylor winning that Canadian Open was probably the coolest thing in Canadian sports in a long time.
Yeah, I would agree. That was so fun to watch live. That was insane.
So Scotty opens at plus 280. Bryson, I believe, is second at plus 700. Rory, maybe plus 1,200. Kind of funny moment. So Bryson, showed up to Oakmont with the trophy. It's just kind of funny. He just got out of his car and he had the trophy because, he gives it back. And then before he put it back on the podium it sits, he gave it one last kiss, which was just kind of a funny
Yeah.
clip.
Yeah,
Who do you guys
that
think's
was
going to win? Who do you got?
I don't know. Let's go. What the hell was that? Ryan Fox back to back.
All
No, I'm
right.
just joking.
Ben Griffin?
That would be
Not gonna
wild.
happen. Not going to happen.
I'm going Wyndham Clark.
Oh.
Wild card. He won it 2 years ago.
Did.
Really? That's a You think he's figured out his mental issues since putting his driver head through the T-Mobile
Yeah.
activation, PGA?
I totally forgot about that. I might have to change my pick, but that's who I picked in my fantasy golf league this week. So that's who I'm rocking with.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really am just thinking Scotty Scheffler is going to be up there again. I could see him just winning this second major in a row. But I have a feeling Rory McIlroy is just going to get in his head because he's just something mentally not right with him.
He said he was going to spend the weekend testing out different drivers.
That just doesn't sound good.
That's
Not
never
good.
That doesn't sound good. That's
Not
just
this
like
close.
That's just like if one of us are like, I'm gonna go and try to get fitted for new clubs. I gotta figure this out, or I go to the range and
That's like
start
if
overthinking it.
here's a hockey example. That's like if, or no, maybe a baseball example. Let's say, Royce Lewis goes 20 games without a hit, which actually kind of happened. And then he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna start testing some new bats. You'd be like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
That sounds like an off-season thing.
yeah, right before a major event like that.
It's like if Carilla's trying out a new stick right before the playoffs. You're like, are you sure we should be doing that?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Switching up your entire game and with new equipment like that before a major sounds.
I'll tell you what, whoever hits, there's probably a stat out there on Data Golf of whoever hits like the most fairways and the most greens. I'd pick that person to do pretty good.
Yeah,
Because
seriously.
if you're not on the green or in the fairway, you're fucked.
Yeah,
That rough is disgusting.
from what it sounds like reading into this course. So, yeah, I mean, guys that you think that should be able to play to the course well are guys like Scotty Scheffler that seem to always adapt to anything.
Yep.
And always find a way. But there's going to be some random ass guy that's going to be in the mix,
Yep.
like way down the list.
Bryson DeChambeau, if he actually manufactured a golf ball that goes straight every time.
Yep.
I know he did pretty well in the Live event last week, Live Virginia. Number one player in the world, according to Phil Mickelson. Joaquin Neiman won another tournament on Live.
Okay, good for him.
So he could be someone to look out for.
Sure.
After
Not
spraying
really,
his campaign or his caddy in champagne afterwards. That's what they do.
Okay. Yeah, they try to go all F1 with it.
Yep.
Yep. Very good.
Sport.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Scotty is the obvious pick. Maybe Bryson.
Yeah, Bright. Well, he's trying to go back. It's so you don't. It's. I mean, it's so hard to see guys go back to back in these majors year after year. Is Ricky Fowler even playing in it?
I don't think so because there was a 4-way playoff between Ricky, Cameron Young, Max Homa, who was carrying his own clubs because his caddy quit
Oh, okay.
before the U.S. Open. They call it the longest day in golf. Remember, it's a 36-hole qualifier to get into the U.S. Open.
Yep.
It was Cameron Young, Max Homa, Ricky, and one other player who's popular who all played for that last spot. And
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Cam Young ended up winning it. He had a pretty good week at RBC.
Yeah,
I think he finished T4.
he did. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So he's in it.
yeah. Anyways, yeah, it should be fun. I'm rooting on my guy Aaron Rye, who wears the 2 gloves. Made him laugh at the 3M Open a couple of years ago. He's a pretty straight hitter of the ball. Hits a lot of greens. He could be a dark horse. Maybe even Ben Griffin.
Yeah.
He's won on tour a couple times. Found out he wears aviators every round because he's got fucked up eyes. Always wondered why he wears those Joe Biden aviators.
Yeah.
Like every round. Apparently, yeah, he's got some eye issues.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're making fun of him, now you should feel like an asshole.
Right.
Because he has a medical condition. He's not just trying to look like a douchey softball player.
Yeah, and he's
Or
got 2
something.
wins.
Yeah. He does. Yeah, he's won a couple.
He's not trying to look
already,
like a Top Gun pilot.
Yeah, no. He's legitimately trying to play golf and still be able to see. So,
Yeah.
yep.
All right, let's move on, folks. Before we get on to Stanley Cup talk, let's talk about Captain's Patch. CaptainsPatch.com. We actually have a brand new list of places where it's available. I know in the past it wasn't always easy to find where to get it, but now we have a fully published list. Some of the bars you can actually get Captain's Patch include Lord Fletcher's in Minnetonka, Union 32, Braemar Golf Course if you're out playing golf there. There's all sorts of Total Wines, liquor stores on this list. So if you go to captainspatch.com, you can find the full distribution list where you can get it at liquor stores or bars. And as always, Target Field. We were there this weekend, enjoyed a crisp captain's patch. Actually takes up an entire shelf, a
Yeah, it does.
self-serve cooler, left field, which is pretty
great.
sweet. As well as Gate 32 on tap. And if you're
before,
Gate 34, sorry, yes. And if you're there, keep taking pictures of it, tagging us in it. We appreciate the support. Just trying to spread the love. And if you know someone who owns a liquor store or you go to a liquor store where it's not, just ask them to stock it and go to captainspatch.com. Find out where you can get it near you, especially this summer. 21 plus. All right, let's keep moving on. Stanley Cup Finals. Game 2 is starting. Game 3 is starting right now. What scoring update, Sarge? What we got?
I'm on it.
I think.
This has been so fucking good.
Yeah, I don't even know if they. Okay, they're just about to.
yeah, no start yet.
About to drop the puck.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because they always say 7 p.m. and then they'll take 20 minutes to do ads, pregame stuff, and all that stuff. So
Two
yeah.
anthems.
Yep.
The travel
Yep, the
is,
two anthems.
is
Oh.
bananas, dude. I mean, think about it. From Edmonton to Fort Lauderdale.
Mm-hmm.
From what? I think Edmonton is the most northern city in North America that has 1 million plus people.
Yep. Yep.
Alberta.
Yep. Yeah, I want
So-
to know.
What's that flight time?
Edmonton miles, or miles between.
I just
Can't type. Miles between Edmonton.
3,035 miles. That's
long-
a 48-hour drive nonstop.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Flight time has got to be at least 5 hours. Pretty close.
Closer to 6.
Jesus.
That's a rough flight to go back.
Especially when
every
they
2
just start
games.
doing one game at a time, dude. I mean, that's just grueling. Like, you wonder why the series was so fucked up last year. It's just that travel has just got to mess with you.
Well, then they play. They have a 2-day gap from tonight's game 3 to game 4 on Thursday, both in Florida, and then they have to go back to Edmonton on Saturday.
Oh,
So it's a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
I think they would have that 2 days. They would play Monday, Wednesday, and then have a couple of days for the travel again. But
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, that is a crazy. But they did it last year, so you know they're used to it at least. But
I mean, the greatest start, at least the greatest 2-game start. I know it's 2 of 7, but in Stanley Cup history, 9 overtimes.
Yep.
Or sorry, 9 periods of hockey in 2
Nine.
games.
Yep, it's been so fun, and then you know I'm kind of rooting for Edmonton, but in a way like I was fine with Florida winning on Friday because I'm like, you know what, make this a 1-1 series. Let's bring this to 7 games.
Well, yeah, because you got to remember that after this series is over, we don't have hockey for a long time.
Yeah, I mean it'll be quicker than it'll be here quicker than we think. But yeah, we for at least 3-4 months.
Yeah.
we don't really have any good hockey left, and we've been so invested in it now with us watching the Wild and them being in the playoffs, and after they get eliminated, okay, then you just got to watch the rest of the playoffs. So this is always a weird time of year.
Yeah.
But I was saying, my question was like, can every game go to overtime in this series?
It's possible.
And I think I looked it up, and there has never been a NHL playoff series where every game went to overtime. And I thought that was really interesting. So let's make it happen. And this is a series where it could happen. Honestly, both teams don't. Whenever a team is down, you notice that. Like when Edmonton was down, they climb back. When Florida was down, they climb back. Like no team is
No
going
lead
to budge.
is safe.
No.
Even like a 2-3 goal lead, it would nothing. Like when I saw Edmonton was down 2 goals after the first period in game 2, I'm like, that means nothing to me.
Nothing.
No.
Yeah.
You knew they were going to come back.
And I mean, it's just, you talk about like storylines. Both games have ended exactly the way you think they would. Like game 1, you get a assist by McDavid to Draisaitl for an epic game 1 ending. Game 2, you get a Marchand breakaway. I think Marchand had 2 breakaway goals that game. Both were no moves. We were talking about that. Just the old like forehand, backhand, and then just don't do anything. Just let the puck slide in the 5-hole while the goalie tries to prepare for some unreal move you try
One
to make.
rip Florida.
One rip.
One rip already. They
quick.
scored really
Who
quick.
scored first? Let me guess. Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
Leading the playoffs, I think, in
Aaron
scoring.
Brad Marchand.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. We're talking about the rat again.
Dude, this guy.
Yeah, he's been on one ever since they traded for him. They got him. He's been a
How
great
about-
asset to Florida.
40-year-old Corey Perry scoring with 17 seconds left in game 2. I had a feeling when there's less than 20 seconds, I'm like, so someone's going to score. This game is going to go to overtime. I just know it. And sure enough, 40-year-old Corey Perry, who banged Sarge's favorite player's mom, goes in there and just, I think on a second effort, buries a goal through traffic, and they make it to overtime. And then they play 2 more. I did think that game could have gone to 3 overtimes.
Dude, it was well, when did Marchand score? How much time was
The
left?
end of second overtime.
It was like near the end.
Yeah, it
I'm like,
almost
this
was
is going to
3.
go to another 3 overtime. That was just unreal.
I just can't imagine like the cramps and your body just has to be beat up by the time they're still laying out. They're finishing their check still.
Dude, did you see that Brad Marchand had a blizzard in between the overtime?
Did he?
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit. Dude,
Yeah.
what kind of blizzard was it?
I already forgot, but Bar Down, I love that account. They somehow got a press pass, and so Jesse asked him that question. I'm glad he did. But yeah, a blizzard.
Yeah,
Didn't
well,
see that coming.
they've been I think they call themselves like the Blizzard Boys or something. There's a whole group of Florida Panthers who get blizzards before games.
Wow.
Are you serious?
That's kind of their thing. It's like Kachuk, Marchand. Marchand was also, I don't know if he was getting coffee somewhere, but he was in Edmonton before the game, and like this fan, like an older woman, I think, was like, just met Brad Marchand. He couldn't be a nicer guy, and she just like took a photo of him staring at her. He was like kind of half smiling in it, but like I would say, hey, can you like I would take a selfie with him. Like she just took a photo of him standing.
Yeah, like like something very awkward.
Yeah.
Oh, that's goofy.
That might have been a DQ for all I know. But
Yeah, who knows? That's so bizarre to me because I feel like if I had a blizzard before any physical activity, I'd be puking, dead, practically having a heart attack. And you have these guys. I know they're in great shape, but
McDavid was probably having like straight whey protein in his mouth.
he was just pounding creatine.
Yeah.
or whatever, making his own bread or something. I don't know, just to get on the same page, to make sure what happened last year doesn't happen this year, because you know how pissed he was. And then game 1 though, let Leon Draisaitl. It was just
You know when like McDavid has the puck and Draisaitl's on the other side of the crease wide open, you're like,
Shit.
this pass gets through.
over.
The game is over.
Yep,
Yeah, just an epic history.
it's done.
Epic fashion. So yeah, we'll see who wins. Who are you guys at this point predicting? I feel like Edmonton, because I just don't think Connor McDavid will allow this to happen 2 years in a row.
I totally agree with that. I know that's. I want them to win, but
Yeah, I do too.
he's got the willpower of Superman, so he's gonna make it happen.
So does Leon. Like so does
True.
even like Skinner, dude. He played so well in that. Him and Bobrovsky both played so well in OT on Saturday, like both or Friday, both the overtimes. Like they both made multiple game-winning saves, breakaway saves. Like those two were both the heroes of the overtimes.
Yeah.
Sure. And Bob's due for one of those fucking dud games. He always seems to have one of those where he gives
Had
it
it
like
last year.
6.
Yeah. The only thing is, it feels like he's already had those games and they're out of the way
You're absolutely right.
now that they're back at home.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like 4 or 5 goals for him a game is a lot. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Edmonton. I would think Edmonton's going to pull it off. I think they have a better team, but they have the curse of the Canadian teams never. The Canada team has not won a Stanley Cup since 1993. I mean, so there's that part of me that could sit here and say that they're cursed, and it's like kind of a Minnesota vibe to them, where they just won't win it, even being in it 2 years in a row, and then another Florida team will win multiple Stanley Cups in over a 3-year span. Just like it was the reign of Tampa Bay, and now it's the reign of Florida.
Yep, they didn't move too
Panthers.
far. Just went across
Just
went across the state. That's all it took.
pissing me off.
Yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah.
All right,
Still fun.
let's go back to football. Our guy Will Fries, new O lineman for the Vikes from my Indianapolis Colts, was just smoking a cigar, got out, just rocking the Tony Soprano shirt. Said, "I'm in my Tony Soprano era." What a guy!
Look at that photo.
He's aura farming.
Peak male performance.
Yeah, right. What is this? I've seen what is aura farming again? That he's just like
Please explain it to me.
growing his brand or something. He's
you're intentionally doing things that make you look cool,
Okay.
and you're just like you're purposely doing things that are gonna get you more
Engagements.
More
Make you look
ass.
cooler.
Yeah.
More ass, sure.
like like when Ant wears like those pit vipers, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, he's aura farming by wearing those. Like
Yeah.
he's a cool guy who's looking even cooler now.
Yeah. We try to do that all the time.
Yeah, dude,
I mean,
we don't have aura.
we don't have aura at all.
We
I
have
think.
negative aura.
Yeah, we have complete opposite of what that McNeese state manager has.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, that's right.
Ahmed or whatever, or Ahmad, or what was his name? Khan
Like-
or something? I
Like
don't know.
Jetta's is someone who
don't
doesn't
know.
have to try, and he has aura.
Those guys just say he was born with aura.
Yeah, like I have to try my hardest to look cool, and I still look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah. We could be on Lake Minnetonka on the best looking boat, wearing the most expensive sunglasses and watches,
on the biggest boat.
and we'll still look like fucking idiots.
Everyone will still call us pussies.
Yeah, you're a pussy. What? But this is the aura. This is our aura.
And am I supposed to contest? Am I supposed to contest them on it?
Yeah.
No, it's a fact.
It is a fact. You got Will Fries. He can pull it off. He just signed like an $8 million 5-year contract or whatever the
Yeah.
hell it was to play offensive line here. He's enjoying his life. He's living the good life. You know he's going to be here a while. Job stability. Good for him.
Discussion in the comments on where this picture's located. The consensus is Lake Minnetonka, specifically Big Island.
Yeah, it's
So
definitely Lake Minnetonka. He
Correct.
seems like a big Maynard's guy too.
yeah, maybe he could go to Lord Fletcher's, drink a Captain's Patch.
Damn
That's very
right.
true.
Be a great beer after a day on the lake.
We need to get to Lord Fletcher's. I haven't been there in fucking forever.
Here's a crazy stat. I've never been there. I've been
Wait,
to
you-
Maynard's like 100 times, never gone down the road
You
to
know-
Lord Fletcher's.
Oh, I thought you meant to Lake Minnetonka. I was like, excuse me.
Oh, no.
No, we've been to like Maynard. I think honestly, I don't think I've been to Lord Fletcher's since I've been 21. I think I ate there growing up as a kid, like with family and stuff, but never.
The only
get there.
association I have in my brain to Lord Fletcher's is that really cringy video of the Timberwolves jersey release with Young Gravy and Nas Reed and like Crunch riding the jet ski.
Bizarre place to do a jersey reveal, and you're all right. Yeah, I'm all the Young Gravy didn't sound bad, but the sound and audio quality didn't sound great
Nas
either.
Reed is hitting on a girl like half his size.
It's like,
and
what
then
a-
they pan over to fucking Crunch, and he's just on a jet ski in a full mascot suit, which I think is probably illegal. There's no way he can see is very well out of that thing, riding a motored vehicle.
Fever dream. You know, it makes sense that our beer is at that place now.
Yeah.
It it only makes sense. Yeah,
That would have been the
Lord
only
Fletcher's.
thing that could have made it weirder if we were somehow in it with Captain's Patch.
Yeah, I think in the end what we decided here, we need to get the Lord Fletcher's with the captain's patch and Aura Farm our own way and get to build Aura.
Yep.
We need Aura.
Yeah, we should definitely do
Yeah.
that.
But no, like I said, I think him and Kelly are great pickups. I think they're going to do well here in Minnesota.
Yeah, can you
Both
give
from
us
Indianapolis, right?
Yeah, give us the scouting report as a Colts. Man.
Yeah, Ryan Kelly, dude, I'll give you the honest truth. He was really fucking good until I think he lost his kid in childbirth and just did
geez.
not seem like the same player after that.
Makes
So I think
sense.
this is good for him, a little change of scenery. He's also hasn't had a good quarterback there since Andrew Luck.
Wow.
You think about it?
Yeah. No, he hasn't. He's been around that long. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I think he was a rookie when Andrew Luck played his final year or something. So, Will Fries, don't got a lot on him. I think he was hurt most of the year.
Yeah.
Which goes back to Instagram commenters. Someone just said, please, on the photo we posted of Will Fries aura farming on Big Island, someone just commented, please stay healthy and play well. And it's like, yep. Commenting on our photo of him is going to help
He's
him.
gonna
It's going to ensure he does.
That's the ticket.
Yeah, we took that photo of Will Fries, so yeah, we can tell him directly right for you, you know,
Yeah,
right
please
in the
stay
moment.
healthy. It is ironic, too, that they say be healthy as he's smoking a cigar, which is one of the most unhealthy things you can do. Not that I would judge him for that,
No.
but it's just ironic that someone commented it.
He's probably pounding beers out there. You know he's doing that, which he should do. Fuck it.
Yeah, it's
Wait.
offensive lineman. They have to. It's a requirement.
You add weight.
Corn and beer fed guys.
Yes.
It helps you. It helps them, I think.
Yeah.
Drink more beer. Captain's Patch as well.
Well, we talked about the Wolves jerseys. Good little transition. So, can someone tell me how official this source is? Because I saw 10K Howells repost this, and I do trust them, but this picture is from Proline Mockups. Minnesota Timberwolves will bring back City Edition jerseys from 2018-2019, confirmed in collaboration with Jersey Archive. I don't know how official this is, but what do you guys think of these jerseys? I think they're pretty sweet. The Purple Rain Edition.
I like them.
Yeah, they're cool.
Don't love them.
I don't.
They're cool, but
Hoppa.
this is and this is great. But they should bring back the early 2000s logo and jerseys.
Everyone has only been saying it forever.
Yeah, seriously.
It can't be this hard to do it, right? Like, if you just listen to the feedback and say, yeah, let's bring those jerseys in.
I know. I think that everybody with the classic logo. I know they tried to. They did bring it back a couple years ago, like the old jersey, but it was like the black jersey. Yeah. And I want the blue jersey. That's what I want. I want the blue with the
pine
classic
trees around the arms and the collar.
the pine tree, everything, and then invite Kevin Garnett back for fuck's sake, because now Taylor's out of the picture. Mm-hmm. Bring those jerseys back, at least as an alternate jersey, and get Kevin Garnett back in Target Center.
Yeah,
So,
and then have a release video maybe somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Maybe do it at Target Center.
Yeah, I don't care.
Not that it wasn't. It is cool having it at Lord Fletcher's now, because actually, you know what? Now that Captain's Patch is being sold there, have it at Lord Fletcher's.
Yeah.
Let's do
we
the
approve.
whole thing again, except just with the different jersey.
Yeah, different jersey, maybe some better sound equipment.
Maybe bring
I
in
don't
like
know.
an AI version of Prince, like
Yeah.
a hologram.
They could definitely do that. I was about to do the Michael Jackson. Hee hee.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what Prince kind of did, but that was more of an MJ thing.
Yeah.
It'd be great if
Pedophilia on the Prince side.
a little more fentanyl, but it's probably a rough
Trade
joke
off.
there.
Good trade off.
They should actually, if they're going to bring back the Purple Rain, they should have the release party at his house,
Yeah,
Paisley Park.
yeah. Oh, that would be perfect. Oh,
Be a
that,
sweet
they
spot.
would totally do
I think
that.
they do have events there.
They do
still,
have
right?
events there. They have tours there. It's
Yeah.
essentially a concert venue because he had a whole freaking concert venue in his own house.
Yeah,
so.
his house is so big that the doors are numbered.
Yeah,
That's how you know you have a big house, is when it's like, oh, that's in door B5.
Yeah.
Like schools have that, or like industrial buildings. That's how
Yeah.
big his house was.
room B. Yeah, it's like classrooms. Yeah. No, I heard his house is insane. You drive by it in Chanhassen, and it looks like just like a big studio space.
Yeah.
It really does.
It looks like a big igloo.
I know it does. So yeah, do it there or on Stefan Diggs' boat.
Yep. With the pink powder and Captain's Patch.
And they'll make it purple powder.
This is summer sports conversation. Whatever the fuck's happening here.
No, we're talking about a Wolves jersey release party.
Yep.
We're
At
gonna
the
do it.
Prince's house.
Yeah, Prince's house. It's official.
Bring young gravy. All right. Let's talk a little more hockey on the Wild side. Iowa needs a new head coach. The minor league system.
Big news story here.
Big news story. So after a month after Billy G said he's not firing Brett McLean, Brett McLean goes and signs a deal with the Canucks as an assistant. So I think he just clearly hated being a head coach because he was already an assistant before. He was a head coach in Iowa and then just left to go be an assistant for actually a worse team.
Or he realized being a head coach for an AHL team located in Des Moines, Iowa, probably was not for him.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, this state is just going to make me insane.
He came and went too fast. Come
Yeah.
and go.
Yeah, he was a come and go, which is a very good Iowa joke because they're just full of come and goes.
Yeah.
Literally. But there's we were making jokes at some candidates that could be potentially
Yeah.
fill that vacancy. Pete DeBoer
Yep.
just got fired from Dallas. He'd
Yep.
be the
He's looking
number
for a
one
job.
guy.
Yep. Who did you have others? Because I brought a list.
I have a couple others.
Okay, let's hear yours
but
first.
Torts.
Yep, I had Torts as well. Dude, did you guys see there was like a Photoshop? I think Sarge, we might have talked about this last week, but there was a Photoshop picture of Torts saying that he had signed with one of the PWHL expansion teams.
Oh
as
man.
their coach. Obviously wasn't true, but
No.
I was like, could you imagine that? Him just like, I don't care if you're girls, you're boys. Like he would get in trouble for
Oh,
some
he
shit
would
he
definitely
say.
for sure. Ratings might honestly go up. I don't know. Like for watching those.
Yeah, I think they said he was signing as the official coach of the Vancouver team.
the official expansion of the Vancouver team. Yeah. Man, that would be funny. If he just for a year, I would love to see that.
Yeah.
John Torts. I had Tom Thibodeau.
Yep.
You guys are same wavelength.
Yeah, so you know what? He can just be the Iowa Wolves coach as well. Just
Yeah,
double
I
whammy.
think we talked about that on Saturday. He could just get a 2-for-1 job.
Yeah, it's an AHL team. He can figure it out on the hockey side of
Yeah,
things. Just yell at some people.
Just make sure they're back checking and
A little Ted Lasso.
Yeah,
esque.
why not?
Yeah.
That can work. That's a TV show and totally fiction, but it can totally work in real life for Iowa teams.
I had Gordon Bombay.
Yeah, where is he at? Where's
Oh,
Gordon Bombay? We haven't seen him
agent.
since what, D3?
Been
Come
a couple
on.
years.
Yeah, it's been a few years.
I also had Flower. Maybe send him down there.
Oh, that'd be great.
He can directly work with Volstad, get him ready because we know he's not ready.
And he can he's the top guy, so he can literally prank everybody.
Right.
Prank every
Basically
player.
bully the players into playing better. If you don't score tonight, you're gonna get pranked.
Yeah. You can create some sort of prank incentive program.
Yeah.
No, exactly. I would agree with that.
I also had Bruce Boudreau. Just throw him back in the system.
Get him in the system, and then get him going. Dean Evison? No, he's still. Where is Dean coaching again?
He's Columbus.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What about one lucky athletic commentator who thinks they know more about hockey than anyone else? A lot of those people. Actually, someone in the athletic comments on this article made a joke about that.
Yeah.
Well, this is all these commenters who think they know more than everyone. This is your time to step up and apply for the job.
Yeah.
So maybe pick one of them and be like, all right, run this team, because the team was not great the last few years under Brett McLean. One of the worst teams in the AHL back-to-back years.
Oh.
Hell yeah.
Not a good look, especially when we pride ourselves on having a very good prospect system.
Yep.
So yeah, not good.
Well, that's because half their team was playing for the Wild.
That part,
Sure,
I think,
yeah.
did contribute to it, that all their best players were getting taken every week.
And they would come up and just get destroyed up here.
Yep.
Yeah, because of all the injuries we've had the last couple seasons. So that definitely could be a contributor to it.
We might have made Brett McLean hate hockey because of what happened with the injuries.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, dude, that sucked.
A
And
couple
everyone
bad
blamed
years.
me.
Couple bad seasons.
Commentator Anthony says, Mike Yo.
Oh, yeah.
he-
I think he's an assistant. He's an assistant for someone still because I've seen his bald head on the bench against.
Yeah. You just seen his shiny, reflective head
Yeah, dude,
somewhere
get him
in his
back. You know what?
glasses.
Yeah, get him back in the system.
Hey, Zach
yo.
Parise. Get Zach Parise back in the system. Just bring him back.
Oh, you guys forgot about Joel Quenville.
Didn't he get hired with
Oh, is he
Anaheim?
hired?
He got hired by Anaheim.
Yeah,
didn't
Yo
he?
is currently an assistant with Ottawa.
Okay. Yeah, he doesn't want to be there.
Playoff pedigree.
How would you like Des Moines, Iowa?
Yeah.
You don't want to be in Ottawa. Actually, they went pretty far. They didn't go far. They lost in the first round of the playoffs, but they made it to the playoffs for the first time in a while. Yeah, Joel Quenville was hired as the Ducks head coach on May
Oh,
8th.
shit.
Yeah, he was probably going to get picked up. So replacing Greg Cronin.
Yeah.
So he's off the market, unfortunately. Can't get him. I think
Andrew Burnett, is he still the coach in Nashville?
Ooh.
I would be surprised if he didn't get fired.
Where's Dwayne Rollison at? Let's just start naming off all these old Wild players that I have no idea where they went, and then just figure it out.
Martin Skula.
I
Martin
think they showed
Skula,
Dwayne
Keith
Rollison at one of the Stanley Cup games. I thought they put him on TV. Was that game one, Dwayne Rollison?
Yeah,
He was in the crowd.
because he played for Florida.
Yeah.
after the Wild or before the Wild or something. He had a strong tenure with Florida.
Yeah, so that's what he's been up to.
Yeah, he doesn't obviously want to come to Minnesota.
Maybe bring in Paul Bissonnette.
Oh,
Bissonnette.
commentator Alex says TJ Oshie. Now
Oh,
he's retired.
true.
Retired.
Now retired. Looking maybe. Hey, Billy's pretty good at bringing Minnesota guys back in the system.
Bring him back in the fold.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. Marion Gabrick, where the hell has he been at?
Mikko Koivu,
Mikko Koivu,
Thomas Vanek.
or maybe the only other retired number other than Mikko Koivu, number one for the fans.
Oh,
the fans
yeah.
are just the coach of the team.
What if it was like a fan-controlled team? You know how they had the fan-controlled football league?
Oh.
What if like we voted on roster changes
Yep.
and we voted on like training camp and
It'd be just like NHL GM mode.
yeah, dude.
We're working it as
That
like a
would-
head coach.
You know what? I would imagine the problem with the AHL is viewership. I think that would probably help.
I think so as well. This
Other
to
than
know.
having like a kick-ass prospect down there.
to know this AHL team is just controlled by the fans.
Yeah.
Man, there would be some really dumb moves.
Oh, yeah.
If you had to vote on stuff, people would be, oh man, it would be
You'd
hilarious.
be
if
like
there's a big-
lobbying
Yeah.
the fans to do crazy shit.
Nothing would get done because there would be so many disagreements. All right, we need to get rid of Allsted. All right.
Yep. Trade him for a 4th rounder and Corey Perry so he
Yep.
can bang someone's mom.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about merch, folks. 10ktakesmn.com. We got a ton of stuff on there. Stuff for summer, Twins. We got some wild stuff on there. These new Minnesota hats, which we've been selling the shit out of. Appreciate everyone who's buying the off-season rope hat. We're actually shipping out a ton of those tonight. But if you go to 10ktakesmn.com, buy all of our merch, you can actually get free shipping for orders over $75. So, yeah, that's a good way to support us. We appreciate everyone who's been buying everything. We got the Frost back-to-back shirts on there as well. Appreciate everyone who's been buying those. 10ktakesmn.com. Check out all of the different merch and whatnot. All right, let's talk about Pablo. R.I.P.
Pablo Sanchez?
Not actually dead,
Oh.
but out 8 to 12 weeks with a torn muscle strain in his throwing shoulder.
Yeah, that's not
Is
good.
that good?
Grade 2.
It's a grade 2. It's not a grade 1. I'm talking grade 2 shit
Grade
here.
2.
Yep.
So, fun fact, this is what Joe Ryan had last year that shut him down.
Is it time to put the Twins training staff on the hot seat?
No, okay, I'm glad you brought this up.
Because 2 of the same injuries to 2 good pitchers in 2 years in a row, kind of an issue.
So I've watched damn near every single Twins game this year, and so the last series against the Athletics, so they're moving to Vegas obviously, and they are in a AAA field.
Right.
Well, apparently their mound is like concrete, and so everyone's bitching about it.
Ooh.
So there was a conspiracy theory that the mound had something to do with the shoulder, which I don't really see how that equates. But
Is there anyone else who
stepping
has
on 'em.
who has gotten hurt from this mound?
no. So that's kind of where it doesn't
It's
make a whole lot of
Minnesota
sense.
conspiracy
Yeah, that's a good-
speculation of our
correct.
fans.
Tough
I love
excuse
that.
then.
Correct.
Love to hear that. Love to
Yeah.
hear it. Well, it was the mound in Oakland. I think I was talking about how it's funny that we have 2 teams in the Major League Baseball playing right now, playing in minor league ballparks. You got Tampa Bay, which unfortunately their stadium was ravaged by the hurricane, but they really should have probably built a new stadium damn near 15 years ago, but they haven't. And then you have the A's, who technically don't have a location.
Yeah.
They're just the A's.
They've knocked down a hotel in Vegas. That's the progress.
Yeah, that's all they've done so far.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
is it Zebby time, Sarge?
Yes,
We're
so
going
he's
to do
actually
this
hurt.
again,
He's
right?
yeah, so he pitched pretty decent a couple days ago, but he's hurt right now.
Okay.
So he's got some shoulder fatigue. That's just the most baseball injury
Good
of all
God.
time. So
Nice.
he should be okay. They called up David Festa, who is a great AAA player. He's having a hard time in the
Yeah.
leagues. He's getting just tossed right now. But we called up this guy, Travis Adams, 6th-round pick in 2021. He's more of a reliever, so like an extended reliever. So I'm not. We might have a bullpen game coming up here tomorrow. I know Simeon Woods Richardson might be coming back up. He's kind of the same thing as Festa. He looks decent, then he'll have an inning.
One bad inning.
Well, yeah, usually it's like the 4th inning. Once they come around again, the batting order, they're like, yeah, we got this guy, and then he just gives up 4 runs.
Yeah, we were at a pretty disappointing contest on Saturday.
It was pretty
Didn't even really
disappointing.
end up watching much of the game because it was just 0-0, and we're like, okay, this is a tight one, and then it was 5-rip. We're like, okay, time to go to the Grey Duck porch.
But then they
Then it got
came-
close.
Got close, especially near the end. That was actually nuts. Whoever Roger Clemens' kid hit a home run.
Dude, he's been awesome this year.
Yeah. But he kind of bounces around, I know, from team to team every year. But that's crazy.
Hopefully he finally found his home.
Yeah.
Because I think what he's famous for is having like a really good first month and
Yep.
then just
Yes.
kind of leveling out.
Bouncing out, goes to another team to help him out for a little bit. And
He was
yada,
one of those
yada.
players where we got him from Philly for cash. I just always love hearing that. Like, we just gave him a bag of money, and we're like, all right, we're going to take that human from you.
Yeah.
Dude, it literally reminds me of semi-pro when they trade for Monix or they trade their washing machine.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
seriously.
my goodness.
It's just crazy to me. Like, you just think about how bad pitching is for the human body. Like, just putting your arm through that much strain once every few, whatever, you know.
Few games. I mean, if you're a pitcher in the starting rotation like Lopez was, I mean, and the way he pitches, it's just so much on your. I just try to throw softball, like at softball, and sometimes I feel like my shoulders going to hell. Yeah. These guys are just whipping the ball 95, 96 miles per hour on the mound. Every few games you got to think relief pitchers sometimes go in every night. That's just crazy. Yeah. So, Minnesota, it's bound to happen right when we were getting good. We lose our top pitcher.
Yeah.
Thanks, Obama.
I also have thanks Zuckerberg. I have a gripe with putting in Johan Duran in the 8th. And the only reason why is because they do the walkout song when they do it. And it just when you put him out in the top of the 8th and you're down 2 or 3 runs, it doesn't feel right to do the flames and the song and
No.
I really hate that they do that. I don't mind calling him in, but maybe don't do the music and the flames if he's just going in to like relieve and try to get us to a chance to come back and win.
Yeah, those are called holds.
Yeah, that's his. That should be the hype of when he's can actually come in and save the game.
Close the game.
The lead, close the game out. There's not really a reason to hype up just to come in to throw a few pitches and be a relief pitcher. Come
At
on,
this
man,
point,
you're down.
Let's do it for every pitcher. Everyone
Yeah.
gets their own song.
Fuck it.
It's like
Big-
batters. Batters get their own songs.
Yeah, so they can get a big long intro. Why not? If I were a pitcher, I'd be pissed about that. That's position discrimination, brother.
It's just embarrassing.
Yeah, it
You know
was
what?
weird.
Canada almost tried to ruin our summer again by
Yeah,
first they started on fire and now it's smoky here, and then they tried to sweep us in
Yeah.
our own barn.
but they didn't. But
didn't.
they still beat us 2 out of 3 games, and that was annoying.
Sarge, as our Twins expert on the show, do you have any other takes?
No, that just sucks.
How many games back are we?
We're not going to catch I believe we're 7.5. Detroit's actually really fucking good, so we'll be a wild card hopefully. Our bats have been doing well. If we score 4 more runs, we are literally the best team in baseball. So that's the key. That's the ticket. Score
Okay.
4, we're gonna win.
Lock
Okay.
down the defense.
All right, it's just funny talking about. I mean, we're in June. We're not halfway through the season yet, but just talking about them being a wild card and making another team making it to the playoffs. Just add it to the season counter.
Jake, all you got to do is get in.
There's plenty of room.
Look at the Edmonton Oilers right now. They went all the way to the Stanley Cup. That's a great comp.
Yeah, it is, but we'll see. That's a few months down the road. So just enjoy it now while they're in a wild card race, despite having one of the worst starts to a season I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So let's just be happy.
Really
I guess.
impressive stuff that they just basically did a 180 in May.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank God.
Yep, good
Probably
for them.
heard this show. Jake said that if they didn't get to 20 wins, Rocco's getting fired. So Rocco definitely took that into account, I'm sure.
He did. He heard that.
Jake also said we got hot too early and that the season was over.
Yeah.
People on Instagram loved that.
I love the people that took it so seriously.
I know.
What kind of take is this? That doesn't make any sense. Hey, you get hot too early in like end of April, early May in a baseball season, and people get overhyped, and it could
Then
just
everyone gets hurt.
collapses. Yeah, because you're playing too hot too early.
It's not that crazy because it's kind of true.
In a way, in baseball, 162 game season, don't get that hot that early, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You know, it started as a joke, but I think we're starting to believe it.
In a way, because they've kind of tapered off a little
Logic
bit.
might be there.
I think people expected them to win 20 games, lose 1, win 20 games, lose 1, and now we started tapering off a little bit, sitting around 500, since then. And, people are upset with the team. It's like, well, yeah, they got too hot, and
Yeah.
they've used up their resources in terms of the longest winning streak we're going to see them do all season.
Flew too close to the sun, Jake.
Exactly. Too early, man.
Yeah.
It's too early.
Let's talk about some interesting news coming out of the University of Minnesota. So Les Bolstad will close. Really disappointing stuff, Jake, from the University of Minnesota. So per Fox 9, here was their statement. We recognize this course holds generations of memories for our community. The statement from the University of Minnesota reads, quote unquote, "This decision reflects careful consideration and was made in light of today's challenging financial environment. As a public university, we have a responsibility to ensure that our land and resources are aligned with our core mission, supporting students, advanced research, and serving the state of Minnesota." I didn't even mention this is a golf course, did I?
You did.
Okay, I did.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
I think
University
so,
of
yeah.
Minnesota's golf course.
Yes. Les Bolstad.
Jake, as an alumni of the University of Minnesota, what are your thoughts on this news?
Well, I'm disappointed because I'm like, where's the U of M golf team going to play now? They're a prestigious elite golf team going to play now. I mean, there are obviously a lot of great courses that they can play around the Twin Cities, but this course has been around for over about 100 years or something like that.
Yep.
And I don't know. I guess it's a little weird that this is happening on the U of M's course. Now they don't have their own golf course. I was reading some comments on it. I saw it on a Facebook group, ironically, before I came here. A Minnesota golfing group or something.
People saying about it.
Oh gosh, one at the top comment was, "Yeah, this makes sense for the U of M. Just gonna make it another gender studies campus building. They're gonna make it one big gender studies school at
One
the
big
University
art
of Minnesota.
department.
Yeah, one big pointless major, or pointless study at the U of. So I'm like, maybe, I don't know, but
Jake,
yeah.
I need you to like find a Twitter article of this and quote tweet it and say no longer supporting the University of Minnesota.
No longer supporting
No
the
longer
University
a
of Minnesota.
fan.
No longer a fan. No longer a gopher anymore.
Nope.
Yep.
You will not catch me, quote unquote, doing the gopher every Saturday anymore.
You will not catch me supporting gopher golf anymore.
Dude, so it's funny. We had a similar situation happen at the University of North Dakota where I went. So there was a golf course on campus called Ray Richards. Not where the golf team played at all, but kind of like a little 9-hole course owned by the university. So they shut down our men's golf program due to like Title IX and funding. And then they sold that land, or they were going to sell that land that the golf course was located on, because the course was like in the middle of campus. They were going to turn it into apartments, right? They found out after like getting rid of the staff, selling all the equipment. At least this is the story I heard. I don't know if all of this is true, but they sold all the land, all the equipment, whatever. And then they realized that the contract in the land said that if they sold that land, they had to donate all the money to the University of North Dakota golf program. So they let the course go to shit. They sold all the equipment, got rid of all the staff, and then instead of giving the money to the golf team and like bringing it back, they ended up just redoing the course, keeping the land, buying all new equipment, hiring new staff. That's how petty they were around not having a golf team, which is crazy that before they did all this and let the golf course go to shit, like it was literally fully overgrown by weeds and stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't read in the contract that they had to do that. Maybe one of the most wild mistakes I've seen a large organization make was, not reading the line in the contract saying that they couldn't keep the profits from selling the land.
That's so the golf course, like the owners of the golf course, had to essentially give their profits back to the school.
Yep.
And then the school then just renovated it and
Yep.
everything and made it a golf course again.
Yeah.
So it's just like it went back. It's
so
a
they
pointless cycle.
spent millions of dollars and accomplished nothing.
Wow. Yeah. It was called Ray Richards.
Ray Richards.
That sounds like a
I
bar.
think it still exists. Yeah, no, it's because now they're stuck with it.
No, you have to.
Can't
It's
sell
just-
the land,
That's
and
that's bad.
the sad thing is in this day and age, most golf courses, people don't know this, but most golf courses actually don't even turn a profit every year. Like the high end ones do, the country clubs do, but your average muni course probably barely gets by.
Yeah.
So, it's not surprising to hear that these university-owned courses are closing because they're like, we're not making any money on this, and we could just sell that land and, or we could build gender studies or
Gender studies building.
or some sort of therapy building.
Yeah.
So,
Or houses.
Sensory building.
yeah, Sarge and I talked about it before. We're like, man, where's the U of M team gonna play now? Oh, probably TBC Twin Cities, which is a way better golf course.
They'll play if they host I think every team or hosts an open or something. Yeah. They'll find there's so many good courses around the Twin Cities. Like I never played Les Bolstad, but I heard it was kind of wasn't the
It was
greatest
average
course. It
at
was
best.
average especially for being the University of Minnesota's premier golf course. I heard it was nothing special.
No, what was
old.
ironic about that course is the practice facilities was nicer than the course. So the practice facility is still going to be intact.
That's what I heard.
Which is hilarious. So they're going to sell everything else, probably for housing.
And then they're gonna forget that they can't keep the money, so they're just gonna let the course get overgrown and then redo everything.
There's gonna be some contractual thing. Yeah, in 5 years' time, we can golf that golf course
Yep,
again.
it'll be back. Yeah,
Back and better than ever.
That's what I'm saying. I've seen this movie before.
I've seen this before. I've seen this one.
Yeah.
Will happen again.
I tried to reach out to our friend Emma Carpenter, former University of Minnesota golfer, for comment. Actually, I think she might have had that. Oh, never mind. No, she does. She's busy at the U.S. Open. But
Yes.
I'll bring her comment next week.
Yeah.
I'd imagine she's devastated. Just
Yeah.
kidding. Probably not.
Probably not. She probably has
She
some.
plays at TPC Twin Cities like all the time.
Yeah. She would. Why are you playing Les Bolstad if it's such a great course? You know. So yeah. Whatever.
All right, let's close out the show with some text and voicemails. So this week's prompt was which will be the last team to win a Minnesota sports championship. I probably could have phrased this question better. I was going to say ever. So a lot of people said the Twins. They've already won 2. So this question was basically between the Wolves, the Wild, the Vikings.
Yeah. Those 3 teams.
That's it.
The teams. So you meant the teams that have never
Yes,
won
like
one.
of all,
These are gonna be the
like
last one
like
to
let's
win.
say
Yeah.
let's say the sun explodes and the world ends. Like which team doesn't have one?
Yeah. Yep.
Whatever year that is.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I'm interested
By
to
the
see
end
what
of our
people have to say.
lifetimes.
So I'm going to do the text first. Here we go. Cameron here. It would have to be the 10K take softball team because we fucking sucked and folded.
we did. Yeah.
Good point.
Dude, we'll never win one. I mean, I've played on some decent, like, good softball teams too, and it's so hard to win a championship. That team was never going to win anything.
No, we won one game and it's because the other team didn't show up.
And we tied.
we did
tied
tie
a
one.
game.
We got a
game.
tie.
Yeah, we won one game that year because half our team was competent, the other half was, let's just say, incompetent.
Okay.
Our catcher was a midget,
Yeah, he was small.
or he was a little person.
He was a little. You probably shouldn't have said that. He was a little person, and yeah,
That sounds just as offensive, though.
I
I
agree.
know.
Is there a right word for that?
Probably not. But that's just what he. And
I
he
mean, it's
struggled.
true. It's not a joke. It's
He struggled. So yeah, yep.
All right. This text here. The Vikings. The Wolves are one big trade away from a championship. The Twins are top 5 in ERA.
and already have one. I know.
And hopefully the Pullheads will sell the team soon, which they will. The Wild have all the pieces, man. Once they get over that first round hump, there's no stopping this team. Then you got the Vikings, who everyone thinks JJ is the next Patrick Mahomes for some dumbass reason. This dude's an average QB, and if anything, his QB comparison is Kyler Murray. I don't see that.
I don't see that either.
I don't know about Kyler Murray. Kyler
don't
Murray's
think he
a
can
lot
run like
quicker.
that.
No, he can't run like that.
JJ's also like twice his height.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I think there's other guys. I agree with the over. People are acting like he's Patrick Mahomes, so I would agree with that take on that. But as far as that, like the idea that the Wolves are one big trade away, I mean, we've been saying that for years for multiple teams. I think they just, I don't know, honestly. The Wild, yeah, we've seen the Wolves now make it past the first round. What if the Wild do it in this new era?
Yeah.
We don't know.
mean-
It's unknown territory.
$15 million back in the bank. They fucking should.
They should get past the first round. And the thing is, they probably should have. Vegas looked so bad against Edmonton.
Yeah, they did. I
Holy
don't think the
shit.
Wild make it past the second round, but I do think they were just a way better team than Vegas. And
Yeah.
Gus Nyquist doesn't if he drags his foot on the line, we probably lose in Edmonton in like 6 games.
Yeah.
Probably don't beat Edmonton, but we probably at least win a couple.
Yeah.
Maybe one at least.
Play better than Vegas did.
All right, so this wasn't a majors team, but I wanted to read this just for Jake here. The team that I think will be the last to win a championship is Gopher men's basketball. Nico Medved, I think, is a great hire, but the transfer portal and lack of NIL at the U of M is killing this program currently. There's too much turnover with this program. That is a not desirable place to play. Williams Arena, though historic and a great place to play when full, is very outdated and needs renovations. Nico is bringing in guys, and I love that, but I feel like the really good talent is still going to places like Duke and Kentucky. Can't disagree there. And then the great talent from the Twin City suburbs are all going to Wisconsin. Wisconsin's men's basketball is pretty much all Twin City suburb talent. Maybe
Which,
one
yeah,
day
we
they'll
gotta
get a
figure
title.
that out.
That's been happening for 20 years.
Yeah. Finally rehang the 1997 Final Four banner at the barn. It's time for the NCAA to move on.
They do.
Seriously, do 3 things for me. Do that, give the Sioux their name back, and retire KG's number. And you know what? I don't even need a championship. Those 3 things are good enough.
They'll be helped.
And the Wild make it past the first round.
Make best for if they honestly raise the 1997 Final Four banner and see that. I can see that in the arena, I'll be satisfied on
Just
that.
give the fellas some motivation.
That they actually made it to a Final Four once,
Yeah.
albeit it was because they were paying tutors to write all their these players' papers. But as far as playing, they weren't doing any drugs or steroids. They were playing pure talent out there on the floor. It was just
Playing clean ball.
NCAA needs to get their head out of their ass and just let us get this banner. Just give us something, please. This is something for Minnesotans.
Vikings will be the last to win a championship because they are cursed. Also, shout out to the masturbator Go Twins.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, shout out to Master Bader.
You talking about Harrison Bader?
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think that's a valid argument. I think a lot of people do get into the fold of, or maybe the idea that the Vikings are going to be the next team to win a championship. I'm like, that's a really tough take, especially with the Vikings.
All right, we got a special text here. Hello, 10K. My name is Allie. Austin is my boyfriend who runs the 10K Howls page. Shout out Austin and all of the 10K Howls guys. They do awesome. Go follow that page if you haven't. Saw your post. I was born in Wisconsin and love my Wisconsin teams, but I am also a diehard Timberwolves fan. Austin played a big part in that. I thought it would be helpful to give some somewhat outside perspective take on this question. The Timberwolves have been the Final Four 2 years in a row. Anthony Edwards is only 23 and shows no signs of slowing down. He will guarantee us a championship within the next 2 to 5 years. Okay, I like that. Number two, the Vikings are looking promising. As a Packers fan, I'm actually starting to get nervous about that the Vikings will be the new number one in our division. You're not worried about the Lions, okay?
I'm so worried about the Lions. Every year.
The Lions will fall apart, and the Bears will always suck per usual. J.J. McCarthy has shown to have great qualities to get us far. And then Justin Jefferson will play a huge factor in that as well. 3, Wild proved that they can make the playoffs, but they need to work harder to get better to make it further in the playoffs. I will not be surprised if they get us a championship within 10 years.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think it's a very fair.
Then
I think 5 years.
Yeah.
Wild.
Then the Twins would be my least likely team to win a championship anytime soon. They don't have the right people. Their record isn't very good, and they need to acquire some good players, or everybody needs to get better and lock in. So I agree with that. I don't think the Twins are quite there as much as I want them to be. A little outside perspective. Shout
Great
out
analysis there, Ali, especially as a Wisconsin sports fan.
Yeah, a lot of optimism there, especially for someone from the outside perspective.
She might be just trying to jinx us.
That's literally what I was
Could
about
be
to say. She's
sabotage.
trying to play the good girl here and try to get us all hyped. But I do like the fact that she was nervous about the Vikings. That makes me feel great that Packers fans are worried about us. 'Cause they usually aren't.
The whole division should be worried about the whole division, except for the Bears. The Bears will be bad forever. That's how that happens.
Yeah, no matter if even if Caleb Williams improves, like the entire organization and team around him is just bad.
It was done when he said he wanted to be a Viking.
Okay, there's 2 more, but I think we're going to skip them. But
do
they
voicemails.
both said the Twins, and for the poll ad reasons, so that was pretty much the same thing.
Yep.
They
Thank
already
you.
won World Series.
Yeah, thank you guys for texting in. If we didn't get to you, it's nothing against you. We got fucking
Everything
45 of
against
them,
you.
So
Yeah.
keep doing that. Also, it's too rip. But
Okay.
let's get into the voicemail. Here's the first one.
Hey, the last Minnesota team to win a championship is probably going to be the Vikings because they just choke every year in the goddamn playoffs. No matter what position is filled with all these great players, it don't matter. We suck overall as a franchise. Fuck the Minnesota Vikings. I hate being a fan of them, but I'm here for it.
Dude, is he at his kid's concert?
Yeah, I don't know.
Play that back one more time.
Yeah.
I heard.
Hey, the last Minnesota team to win a championship is probably going to be the Vikings because they just choke every
You're
year
ring
in
around the
goddamn
rosy.
playoffs. No matter what
He's
position
probably
is
sitting there.
There's a child in the same room as him as he's calling into the show. I respect it. Dude.
Respect.
Honey, I got to use the restroom really quick.
Let's just call into the show
Fucking-
and yell about the Vikings.
Yep.
Fucking
All right,
Vikings.
We got a couple more here.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. All right, here's the next one.
Hey, this is Lamar. Actually, my real name's not Lamar, it's Austin, but it's a long story from high school how I got Lamar. Anyways, who I think is going to win the Minnesota Sports Championship last would be, if you're talking, college too. If you're talking college, then I would say the Gophers basketball. But here's my thing: who would win it first?
Yes.
I would think it's the Timberwolves, even though the prompt is who would win it last. Timberwolves first because they have good depth. They got to get some good offensive players. Got to get teams. But it's Minnesota, so who knows? But my guess to see who's going to win it next is the Timberwolves. Who's going to win it last? Gophers basketball. Reason is because we don't have depth. I mean, we haven't been good in a long time. I mean, Gophers basketball, it's mediocre. It's like kind of like the Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs are mediocre. They win a series or two, and then it's just mediocre. I mean, the Timberwolves. I mean, the fucking Gophers are just like hockey. Yeah, it's pretty good, but the basketball is just like, that's meh. And I want to say a couple quick things before I hang up the phone. Shout out to the 10K Takes for sharing my story. I appreciate it. And also, the beer is fucking fantastic. I got so drunk, I threw up, but I had fun while doing it. Peace and love the boys.
Oh my
I fucking
goodness.
love this guy. I
It's
fucking
Lamar.
love
My
him.
name is okay.
Mar, how was the pink puke
Yeah,
from the beer? That rocks though.
dude, go for men's basketball.
I love that
taking-
they're just catching all the ricochets.
Yeah, they're catching a bunch of strays today. But that's the funniest one too, because that's probably the toughest one to win a championship in. You
By
got
far.
350 plus teams in Division I basketball. Then you got to win 4 games just to go to a Final Four. And so statistically, even if there are so many programs that are good year in and year out that are top 4 seed that will probably every year in the tournament and probably will never win a championship. So I love how people are just throwing the Gopher basketball into the whole.
It's
fold of
actually
this.
probably the smartest answer. I
It
guess,
is,
I guess when I throw
technically.
out the prompt, I never even thought of college sports. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no Gopher football
I think,
strays yet.
I think go for everything but go for hockey. It's probably the right answer.
Yeah, you're right. Well,
Football's
go for
fucking hard,
hockey.
too.
Shit.
All right, we got one more. This is a little bit longer one, but
To answer your question, the answer is none of them. Because Minnesota sports will never win the championship. I'm a diehard Minnesota sports fan, but there is something wrong in like the air in Minnesota. Every
It's
time
Canada. They're
we
smoking
get
us
close,
out.
there's like magical voodoo that's like cast upon us, you know, and then it's like, nope, sorry, you guys got too close. We're taking it away. 98. How does the best kicker in the league miss a field goal?
I cried that
I
day.
don't
And you
know.
go Blair Walsh. I mean, we probably wouldn't have won that year, but still, you know, the Matrix saw, oh shit, Minnesota's 27-yard field goal away from winning a playoff game.
At least
Nope.
that one was only
Psych,
the first round.
going wide left.
The Blair Walsh thing was bad, but
I mean, last
Oh,
year,
the Gary,
game 5,
Gary Anderson
That one
was
was-
NFC
Luka
title.
that
magnet
one
ball
was
can't miss
yeah.
in the first quarter. Game's over in the first quarter. Same thing this year. Game 5, we scored 9 points, and the game's over in one quarter. And you go 2018, where if we win that NFC Championship, we win the Super Bowl. We would beat Philly, go beat New England.
taking down Tom Brady.
Case
is-
Keenum,
I don't know if that's easy.
they drive right down the field. Rudolph scores 7-0. Everyone in Minnesota is excited. You know, we're winning. It's like, oh, shit, are we actually going to go to the Super Bowl? Right then and there, Matrix flips their little switch. No, they're too close. Keenum throws a pick 6, 38-7. Shit's history. 2009. The other team literally has a bounty on our players. And even with that, still almost won. Brett Favre throws it across his body
It's a Cardinal sin number 4.
right into the hands of the Saints player. Peterson fumbles like 4 times, ends up getting benched. You cannot make it up. Twins, 2017, one of these years where we had like over 100 wins for the first time in a while.
Bomba Squad team.
Brian Dozier leadoff home run.
Swept.
Minnesota fans are like, oh
Swept
shit,
by
are we
the
going to beat
Yankees.
the Yankees? Nope. Sorry. All downhill from there. There is genuinely some magical Game 5 this year for the Wild. We score the game-winning goal, and they take it away from us. And series is history. And who knows? Maybe they win that game, they win the series. We're playing tomorrow for the Stanley Cup final. But no, there is genuinely some magical voodoo against Minnesota sports teams that just it's undescribable. It doesn't make sense. It never will. And there's going to be
Yeah, he got cut off.
That's
Cut off. No notes on that. That's yeah. He just named all of them, all the examples.
I think that's the most valid take of the voicemails. Is none of that's probably where
right.
that's the direction I'm heading in terms of my fandom. Is it's never gonna happen. He literally brought up all the shit in our lifetime. There's still so much shit that happened before our lifetime.
It just doesn't feel possible. You know what I mean?
That all these teams
It feels like it's going to be an impossible task.
like you have 4 major sports teams in this fucking market, and all of them have excruciatingly disappointing, cursed happenings that occur to these teams. You can't even make it up. I don't know. He hit it. He hit them all.
Yeah.
And go
I don't
for
know.
hoops.
And go for hoops. Took some strays today. Nico Medved, though. We love Nico Medved.
Yeah.
I love Nico Medved guy.
Also, I don't know who reported this. I can't remember if it was in Discord or who tweeted it, but Gophers apparently have the 10th ranked recruiting class in football.
For 2026.
Okay.
But they still have a very good
Still
recruiting
early.
class this year in 2025. So
Yeah.
they're expanding the playoff, and they'll probably expand it even more. So, or they expanded it, but I think they're going to expand it to 16. Well, it's
It's going to be expanded to 16.
it's 12 right now, right?
All you got to do is get in, Jake.
Yep. All you got to do is get in. And we know that. All we got to do is just get in, and anything can happen. And we could have a home playoff game potentially here at Huntington Bank Stadium.
What are our thoughts going into the U.S. Open on this picture of Dustin Johnson and Paulina?
Oh, he's winning.
You think
Chest
so?
hair out.
He's
wearing
already won, though.
lingerie. Yeah, he doesn't even need
He's
to make
won.
the cut.
He doesn't have to make the cut, and he's fine. He's going in and playing this like he's playing at a recreational course on a Friday.
Great. And he gets to hang out with Wayne Gretzky.
What a life he's living.
This great comment. Who gives a shit about golf package? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's exactly right.
Got everything he needs.
Yep.
All right, folks, that's another episode of 10K TV. Thank you so much for watching, listening live every single Monday around 7 p.m. Central. Make sure to tune in to next week's episode, same time. We're gonna, if you normally watch or listen on not Netflix, on Instagram, we're gonna try to figure that out. But we hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.